After the Carolina Panthers lost their second straight game this week to the Atlanta Falcons 29-3, dropping their record to 5-5 overall, reporters met with new Panthers owner David Tepper. This is his second year basically running the franchise. And he had some telling comments that kind of came out of that meeting. The biggest one says that he won't tolerate continued mediocrity. And the thing that really kind of stands out is he also said that he would not address the future of head coach Ron Rivera and general manager Marty Herney during this meeting on this past Monday with the reporters. And I feel like this information, these comments are telling, because it just shows that I think there's going to be changes that happen with the Panthers after the year. You know, David Tepper is a guy who comes from the business world, one of the most highly respected hedge fund managers in the finance world. He's a self-made billionaire. I mean, the guy paid for the Carolina Panthers with cash. He didn't have to take a loan from the NFL. He didn't have to, pool in additional investors. He was able to personally buy the Carolina Panthers, for $2 billion with straight up cash. And here's a guy, like I said, a self-made billionaire, someone who is not going to tolerate lack of success. And he had several comments in there about, he didn't tolerate failure. He didn't tolerate that stuff in the business world. So why would he tolerate that with his NFL team? That he's an avid sports fan. There's plenty of stories out there about that. So I think these comments are very telling. Since Tepper took over, when he replaced Jerry Richardson, who was kind of forced to sell his team, the Panthers have been 13-14. They came off a pretty, a 3 out of 4 year success where they went to the playoffs. I actually went to the Super Bowl, went to the playoffs 2 years ago. But they just haven't really looked like the same team since. And I know a lot of that is because of Cam Newton's injuries. But overall, I think they need to go in a different direction, and it looks like Tepper's going to do that, and he's going to clean house. And I think that's going to start with general manager Marty Herney. Marty Herney came in to replace, actually Marty Herney was there before, kind of mismanaged the cap, and so he was let go. In came in David Gettleman. David Gettleman had to try and clean up the cap. Was kind of building that roster, but then had really bad interactions and bad dealings with a lot of the Panthers veterans, and you saw some of those guys let go. I think the Josh Norman situation was kind of the capstone that led to that, and he was fired, and they brought in Marty Herney back to try and clean it up. And I think that's a great place to start. Nothing against Marty Herney, but I think Tepper, he's a guy that made a lot of changes on the business aspect of the Panthers, hasn't touched the football operations. I think he's going to get in a general manager that maybe he can see eye to eye with and see running this team in the future. And I think that also is going to lead to head coach Ron Rivera being gone. Ron Rivera's had a lot of success with the Panthers. However, last year and this year, it's not been the greatest year. He went 7-9 last year, 5-5 so far this year. It doesn't look like the Panthers. They're just going to be kind of a 500 level team. Maybe I think at 7-9 we could see another repeat of that. And I just think it's one of those things where Ron Rivera has done as well as he could. The Panthers were on the All or Nothing series from Amazon, and I really enjoyed it, and I really liked Ron Rivera in that. But I just don't think he's going to be doing anything that can get this franchise to the next level. I know he can only do so much with the players that he has, but I could definitely see the Panthers going out and getting a new, when they get the general manager, they're going to get a new head coach. And I think they're going to make a run at some of the top guys, whoever that may be, a Lincoln Riley, Chris Richard, Matt Elberflus are some of the big-time names. I think they're going to be a player out there, because if you look at this organization, especially with David Tepper in tow, he's got a lot of respect and he's got a lot of pull just because of what he's been able to do. And he's already pumping a lot of money and changing up the way that the Panthers are doing so. I mentioned that All or Nothing at the very end of that. They're building a brand new facility. So I think he's going to put a lot of money and resources into the infrastructure around this team. And I think that's going to be intriguing to a lot of teams. Now, a lot of coaches, that is. Now, the real kind of thing to keep an eye on here is what do they do with Cam Newton? Cam Newton's on IR this year, didn't play a whole lot. He's coming off a shoulder surgery. He had a Liz Frank injury that cost him his year, cost him his season. So what are they going to do with him moving forward? He's still got one more year on this deal. There's a lot of speculation that he could be gone. They might trade him. I know a lot of Bears fans might be hoping that he can go there. Maybe there's other teams that he could go to. But he's got 1 year left on his deal. Can he finally get healthy and get back to that Super Bowl caliber level quarterback that we saw a few years ago? Kyle Allen, for a while there, was playing extremely well, and it's allowed them maybe not to rush Cam Newton back, even though he, ended up going on IR, not coming back. He's kind of taken a step back, but, in essence, he's still a young player getting his first experience. They drafted Will Grier. Okay? Do they feel comfortable enough with Kyle Allen to move on from Cam Newton? Or do they feel like, hey, why don't we bring back Newton? He's only got 1 more year on his contract. We'll let the two battle it out. If Cam can't get back to the way he was, we still have Kyle Allen. Or do they not want to stunt that growth? It'll be curious because who's going to be the offensive coordinator? Who's going to be the head coach that's leading that? Right now it's Norv Turner. If they have a new coaching staff, Turner's not probably going to be there. So it'll probably all depend on the new general manager. It'll all depend on the head coach. But based off of these comments, based off of how the Panthers season's been doing, I have a good feeling that we're going to see a complete house cleaning with the Carolina Panthers, new general manager, new head coach, and it'll be curious to see what they do with the quarterback. I have a feeling it's going to be Cam Newton back and him and Kyle Allen kind of battling out to see what they have. If Cam's healthy, I think he's going to be the guy, but you never know. Maybe they feel comfortable enough with Kyle Allen and they're able to ship off Cam Newton and get gets at least some return from that trade. So